been on the road for a couple hours now. We're trying to go to 2 different locations, but I'm not sure if we're going to be able to make it because there's so many fire warnings today. So if we do make it, I will show you. We're going to go to an abandoned mine, hopefully. So let's see what happens. Okay, we arrived at our first location. If you can see, our hearts actually stopped when we saw it because we're in Thistle, Utah. It used to be a booming town. And then there was a rock slide and the dams broke and it washed away houses, and it just, we can't really cross. It would be dangerous anyway. Oh my gosh. Oh goodness. I was hoping this would be a better vantage, but it's not. And that road is scaring the crap out of me. I think that's remnants of the water. We're gonna drive further up. So this is a little bit more dangerous than the other places because we've got this highway that we have to stop on. Fire danger zone, yep, howdy. And you can see remnants. Let's go further. So I'm gonna assume, so don't quote me on it, that this is the railroad track that would lead into Thistle. It is so hot and so dry. I'm gonna do some research on Thistle and see if I can find pictures of it, and that'll be in my YouTube video.
City. And today he gives us what happened at this very time in 1983 in Spanish Fork Canyon. Again, if you didn't have the pictures, you wouldn't believe it. It's the Thistle Slide, and it is worth watching.
This is Spanish Fork Canyon, a peaceful vista of mountain scenery. Well, part of that beautiful vista fell down April 13th, 1983. It was a landslide that wouldn't quit sliding no matter what anyone did.
It's moving something like 1 to 2 feet an hour.
Crews worked 24 hours a day trying to pack it down, trying to do about anything, but it just kept growing from pressure below. In a seemingly unbelievable few days, the slide reached 130 feet high. Worse, it dammed up the lazy little Spanish Fork River, which was little no more. It made a reservoir 90 feet deep within days, and it all kept getting bigger. The reservoir shoreline also grew. The town of Thistle was now in that growth. 4 days later, it was time to move. No, not just move, it was time to run. And it all kept getting worse. Now pretty much all was flooded to window level. And a day later, only roofs were showing. And the water kept coming and coming. It was one of the wettest winters ever, and it was all rising to the surface. Meanwhile, the bulldozers kept bulldozing. And it goes without saying the road was closed, for it was over 100 feet down and also in the lake, now 130 feet deep. And what about the train tracks? Well, Utah's coal was also not moving. The tracks were now under the mountain and the lake. The Denver and Rio Grande Rail made a diversion tunnel. The state figured out it needed to build around all this. But meanwhile, the lake was now 170 feet deep, with a pretty nasty shoreline. The next solution was to pump and pipe. The pumps were put on a barge. Now these were not small pipes and pumps.
We have 5 centrifugal pumps. Each pump pumps approximately 22,500 gallons a minute.
And that's pretty much how they got rid of 14.5 billion gallons of water. So today, if you travel through what was Thistle, you will see some strange sights. They are remnants of Lake Thistle. See, nothing like this should have ever happened in Utah. And you wonder, just as our officials wondered 35 years ago. After all, this is a pretty dry state.
Another long, lonely road. This is a well-paved road for how small it is. It reminds me of, what was that movie with the tornadoes? when they were saying it's Bob's Road, and they're looking at all the maps and stuff. But now we conveniently have GPS, which is kind of nice when you're trying to find these places. So we will not be going to the mine. Oh man. Well, it's an interesting view with all the fires. You can't really see the mountains today. Well, I guess, you know. Is that a deer? What is that? Oh, it is a deer. I see a deer. Better than a cougar or a bear. There are bears. Dang it. Well, Raven, that's really sad that we're not going to be able to see that mine, but that's all right. We tried. Oh, there is the deer. Raven, over here, there's a deer. Can you see it? I don't know if I'm getting it because I'm completely blind right now because it's so bright.
I see it.
Wow.